Welcome to Counterpoint. I'm Tanya Granick-Allen. Be prepared. That is the Scout motto, but it's also an excellent directive, not just for the young Scouts and Girl Guides, but for all of us. How many times did the power go out and you wished that you knew where that flashlight was? Or have you ever experienced a strong windstorm that took down a large tree, smashing into your home? Well, that actually happened to me growing up in Toronto. One moment there was a clear window, and the next moment there was a tree in my living room. Of course, devastating images of Hurricane Fiona pummeling the east coast of Canada, destroying homes, washing houses into the sea, and tearing up infrastructure shocked many of us Canadians. With wind gusts peaking at nearly 180 kilometers an hour, Fiona had the lowest pressure ever recorded for a storm making landfall in Canada, according to the Canadian Hurricane Centre. At least one death has been blamed on the hurricane. Was there something we could have done to better prepare for a storm of this magnitude? Are we learning from each of these catastrophic events? Is Canada prepared? Well, joining us now is Paul Kovacs, Executive Director of the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction and Adjunct Research Professor of Economics at Western University. Thank you so much for joining me, Paul. I'm looking forward to this discussion because I think we all of us viewers, want to be as prepared as possible for when disaster strikes. So maybe we'll start with that question. How prepared are Canadians for disaster?
Tanya, thank you for the opportunity to speak together. Canada is amongst the best in the world at preparing to respond after an event strikes. We plan for this. We do a great job. And in particular, the number of people who die because of flooding or hurricanes or other events is amongst the lowest in the world. We do a really good at planning and then executing response. What we're not as good at is building resilient, putting up the buildings that don't have the damage in the first place, and planning for the recovery process. There's scope to do better, but one of the things we are good at is responding when an event comes.
Okay, so what then could we be doing better? You mentioned building codes, for example. Explain, we have some time here, so explain to us how you think we could be doing better in that regard.
So at our institute, we have been studying all the events that have occurred in Canada over the last 50 or 100 years and carefully doing study in the laboratory and testing that in the field about how to properly build for today's climate and with climate change, the expected increase in severe events. So we have very detailed advice about how to build for strong wind, the kind of winds that were experienced with Fiona and recent tornadoes and other strong wind events. We know how to design into a new building enough resilience that hold the roof to the walls to the foundation, to put right into the basic structure of a new building, all kinds of resilience at very little cost and a significant improvement. Besides looking at strong wind, we look at flooding, we look at hail, we look at wildfire. So a whole range of different climate events. We know how to build right the first time. And we're trying to work with the building community, with building code officials to put that more into the process. But changing how we build is a slow process. It is not straightforward, even though the science is now clear and we've got it all worked out. Now we need to get it changed.
Well, I'm sure also challenging and costly process because I'm sure these extra, shall we say, reinforcements or building adjustments for building a new home or new construction, new commercial building, they probably do cost a little bit extra. Do you find there's pushback amongst the building community because the bottom line is king?
So one of our biggest findings is that the extra cost in new construction is very, very low and sometimes non-existent. It's just doing things differently, not necessarily extra cost. There are definitely times where we are suggesting putting in extra things. So there can be some very small extra cost, but like 1 or 2%, 3% of the cost of the building would be an expensive improvement.
Right.
Where the bigger challenges comes is I'm an older home. So how do you put some of these features into existing homes after they're built? There, the cost can be a little bit higher. But for new construction, there is a great opportunity to get it right the first time. Very small or no extra cost, and you can get a large improvement in safety. That's what we're finding in the lab. That's what we're finding when we work with builders to test them in the real world.
Yes, and of course, for many Canadians, their home is their largest investment. And so if there's an opportunity to ameliorate or better strengthen their home and be a proper defense against, whatever Mother Nature throws at us, a lot of Canadians would jump at that opportunity because, like I said, it's their biggest investment. Nobody wants to flush money away when the floods hit. We're going to pick up this discussion in just a few moments.